like what are you honestly getting from Nintendo's anti-consumerism, practices? Like, how is it helping you? Yes, they can do it. I'm not saying they can't. It's their intellectual property, but it's like about ethics and like how it makes you look. You know what I mean? You can do things as a business, but it will make you look shady, and it will make you look unlikable, and it will make you look like you don't really, you're going after the wrong people. You know what I mean? Nintendo loves their competitive Smash Brothers community. They've done plenty of community events. They've brought spotlights to many top players in the Smash Brothers scene. They've even helped a lot of fan games get more people to play them, and honestly have given them the spotlight that they rightfully deserve. I'm just kidding, this is a lie. Nintendo hates everyone that does any fan-made stuff in their community. If you've pretty much opened or played a ROM hack, you're probably considered on Nintendo's watch list, which I will talk about later. This time right now is incredibly crazy. It's really weird how things are kind of coming to light right now, and I was going to make a video when this stuff came out initially, but honestly this stuff just kept coming out, and it's almost impossible to ignore it now, mainly because there's just so much stuff going on. So I'm not trying to piss off any Nintendo fanboys. In fact, I am a fan of Nintendo, but their business side is, I don't know, just kind of shooting themselves in the foot. Like, yeah, it's okay to go after fan-made hacks, and it's okay to go after community projects because, they're technically modding your game and stuff like that. But just because you can do something like that doesn't mean it's technically the right thing to do. Doesn't mean it's not gonna make you look like an asshole. Is it really worth their time to go after all these fans and that worked hard on their game? So for those who don't know, and if you've been living under a rock, Nintendo has gone after a lot of people right now, even during quarantine. For those who have been living under a rock, there's a version of Super Smash Bros. Melee that has online integrated into the game, which is something that's not ever been done before. It's not something that's natively in Super Smash Bros. Melee, but Nintendo stopped a tournament from hosting events using this version of Melee because it has online capabilities modded into it, and it's mainly because they're using ROMs for a 20-year-old game. I get Nintendo trying to protect their intellectual property, but it's not like people are modding in Mario having breasts in this game and Peach is naked. There's not crazy stuff in there. It's just Melee with online in it, and it's just one guy doing it by himself. And Nintendo went after the tournament that was hosting this event, the Big House, and shut it down. And that was kind of the start of this giant snowball of just Nintendo's and their shitty behavior, and it's scummy. It's just really scummy. And I'm not saying they can't do it. I know people are gonna be in the comments right now and they're gonna be like, oh, but Nintendo can do it. They can do whatever they want. They should. One, what are you getting by what are you honestly getting from Nintendo's anti-consumerism, practices? How is it helping you? Yes, they can do it. I'm not saying they can't. It's their intellectual property, but it's about ethics and how it makes you look. You know what I mean? You can do things as a business, but it will make you look shady, and it will make you look unlikable, and it will make you look like you don't really, you're going after the wrong people. You know what I mean? People that mod Melee, or maybe I don't know, maybe that shows that maybe there's a market out there for people who are willing to play Melee online, and maybe if Nintendo was smart enough to maybe make capable online for their Nintendo Switch, maybe people would, I don't know, buy an HD port of Melee, or or maybe that shows that there's a market out there for online Melee. But no, Nintendo is no, just shut it down. They're making us look bad. They're making us look bad. Shut it down. That's basically what it is. This online made by one guy is way better than anything Nintendo has ever created, and it's sad. It's really sad. So we're actually going to talk about the history today of Nintendo taking down fan projects. This has actually been going on for a while. This has been happening for a while. If you've been living under a rock, I've been around. I've noticed all this stuff happening. We're even going to talk about Project M. For those who don't know, this was it wasn't a ROM hack. It was just straight up a fan Pokemon game. Let me type in cease and desist. Yep, there we go. So this game and another game, which I'll go over later, were received cease and desist, and I'm pretty sure this game was not a actual ROM hack. It was just like its own game. Obviously, you know, it looks like they have some assets in there from like Diamond and Pearl or something, and maybe they were like repurposed. Like I noticed some sprites on the overworld, but like still, why go after this when, like, just why waste your time? It makes you look bad. It literally makes you look bad. This guy made his own game, you know, and this is pretty like next level stuff. Why go after this? Why go after this guy? I have no idea. It really just kind of shows how shady Nintendo is with their practices. This isn't the only game that they've ceased and desist, though. There's another game, another Metroid 2. This game was ironically removed because they were making their own, hypothetically, it was because they were making their own Metroid remake. It really kind of showed, though, like the amount of love that was put into this game, because it was basically made by, you know, a bunch of diehard fans, and I believe it did come out, aside from getting cease and desisted, but it's mainly came out because the fan community wanted it to come out. And these aren't like the only games, you know. I'm pretty sure there's more games that have been, I want to say, was this game removed as well? I'm pretty sure I remember this game. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, Pokemon Prism was another one. There was another one. Yeah, and notice how all these are like around the same time. This is like 2016, right? It really kind of just shows like how Nintendo is really down to kind of go after people. This has been happening for a while. I could probably even go back further, honestly, and there's probably even more people. Nintendo is finally dead to me. Wow. Yeah, dude. This was 4 years ago. This is on Reddit. This was 4 years ago. They're talking about the same thing. Yeah. You know, like, again, I'm not saying Nintendo can't do it. It's their intellectual property. But does it make it right? Is it worth your time? How about maybe if like these people are making better products than what you can actually make, maybe that should inspire your company to maybe go in those directions and say, hey, there's a lot of demand right now for an online version of Melee. Why don't we just make one? You know, some companies would hire the dude, like Valve. I'm not saying Nintendo's like Valve. Valve is very progressive, or used to be at least, but they would straight up hire people that were making fan-made versions of their games. They would straight up hire them, and then they would like either make the game into like an actual thing, or, you know, they would move them to another part of the company where they could be useful or something like that. They wouldn't just like take it down and tell them to shut up, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna get to Project M in a moment, because this stuff blew my mind. Because if you saw earlier, I showed you cease and desist, right? I showed you Nintendo going after these guys because of making these fan-made games, and some of these were just straight up fan-made games. They're not even ROM hacks. For those who don't know, a ROM hack is when like they have the base game, so they have Fire Red or Emerald or something, and they add a patched version over it to change it and to make it into something different, using the base ROM as a base, which Nintendo definitely doesn't like. They've gone after ROM sites before. They've gone after a couple that was you know, hosting ROM sites. I mean, I get it, it's ROMs, I'm not gonna, you know, defend that, but still, I think going after fan projects is silly. It's honestly silly and a waste of time, because it's like whack-a-mole. You take one down, another one pops up. You know, they think taking down the bigger projects is going to stop people, and that's really not what is going to happen. That's really what Nintendo was doing in 2016, right? They were going after bigger projects, and they set a precedent. Okay, go after these guys, take them down. That should scare everyone else, right? Unfortunately, it doesn't always work that way. Like with the Melee community right now, they are not backing down. They're actually still going strong. Basically just like, screw Nintendo. Like, if they don't want to help us, we don't need them. Which is exactly how it should be. You don't need Nintendo. You don't need Nintendo to do things for the community. But here's the interesting thing I wanted to bring up. So I made a Project M retrospective earlier in the year in 2020, and part of the retrospective was wondering why Project M was shut down. I had like 3 theories and I thought it was really a mix of both, but now we have a final answer, and ironically it was we kind of always had part of the answer, we just never had the whole answer. So here's what happened. So, Super Smash Bros. Melee is having a tremendous run at EVO. 2013 was an amazing year for Smash. Smash Bros. Melee, the EVO 2013 stream, was like one of the most successful streams on Twitch at its time. It was one of the biggest streams of all time. It was great. Many people were getting hit-ups to be sponsored. You know, the game was booming, and it was still booming for years and years after that. It was still booming and thriving. And so Smash 4 was out at the time, if we all remember that, and people behind the scenes were talking with Nintendo to get their okay for a Smash tour, and you know, like, Nintendo could help out and stuff like that. I'm sure really, like, they weren't really asking for much. They were just basically asking for Nintendo's approval. In order for this to work how they wanted it to work, they needed the approval. Long story short, this was a years long thing that they were working on behind the scenes, and Nintendo signed the contract to give them the Smash Tour, and then they pulled the plug on the Smash Tour even after it getting signed. So even after they signed on the Smash Tour and said, we'll do it, sure, Smash Ultimate came out and they said, nah, we're good, we don't need you, we're okay, you know, forget the contract. Even though they signed it, they pulled the plug on it, which is weird and just overall just scummy. And that's why this information is coming out right now, because people are just like, they already know it's over. Like, they know Nintendo doesn't care about them. You might be thinking, okay, what does Project M have to do about this? Here's the interesting loop. Turns out that Project M was a big thing on Nintendo's radar at the time, and back in 2014, before Smash 4 came out, like, Project M was thriving. They were potentially doing well, as well, if not better than Melee at the time. And I do remember this time period. Like, this was probably when I started playing Project M, was like 2014. Granted, it was like casually, but I knew of the game. It's crazy because Nintendo didn't want to actually cease and desist Project M. They didn't want to, because they knew if they went after them, it would make them look bad. So what they did is they said, hey, if you want your Smash Tour, and Twitch was part of the negotiations for the Smash Tour, right? They said to Twitch, you have to ban people from playing Project M. Project M has to be bannable on Twitch, and you have to remove the Project M tag on Twitch. You can't play that as a game, so on and so forth. And they did it because they wanted the Smash Tour, and that's why people like Gimmer and so on, a bunch of community heads, like, drops the game without even talking about it, is because they wanted the Smash Tour. So really, Project M was killed by Nintendo. It was them. They didn't outright kill it. They didn't cease and desist it, but they basically stabbed it in the back and then just let it bleed out, basically. That's what they did. And they weren't the ones that told them. They weren't the ones that stabbed it. It was Twitch that stabbed it. But it wasn't like, it was really just under Nintendo's consultant to do it. It was Nintendo telling them, hey, do this and you'll get this. You'll get your little Smash Tour if you just, take out Project M. Turns out that was a bunch of BS. And now we're like, wow, We killed Project M for that, for nothing, really. For nothing, because Nintendo didn't keep their word. They never kept their word even after signing the contract, which is crazy. Which is crazy, dude. Honestly, I don't even understand that. But this is honestly the world that we live in. Nintendo has done this before. For those who don't know, as like another little icing on the cake, it's been proven that Nintendo has actually hired people and private investigators to go after people in the ROM hacking community, and the people that hack DSs and Switches and stuff like that. There's actual company PowerPoint evidence of them going after people and taking them down. And this is just honestly crazy. I never thought we were like, this seems like something out of like Black Mirror or something. But yeah, dude, Nintendo has gone after people for ROM hacking and creating, you know, just hardware for the DS to like, you know, do their own thing on it, you know, like I'm sure maybe they're selling it. I don't know. It's again, like, I'm sure like it's not like the best thing to do, you know, considering what Nintendo is willing to do, but Nintendo has literally hired private investigators to go after people. Actual Nintendo ninjas, you know, and they figure out their day. I've seen the PowerPoints. They figure out like what they do every day of the week, and they figure out all what time of day they do things and what their patterns are and stuff like that. Like actual scary stuff. And then they either like tell them, like they confront them. That's part of the process, is they confront them and they say, hey, you either have to stop what you're doing, or they like hire them. Not really, but maybe, like, in a way they kind of do. Not really though. I'm sure it's not like Valve where they're like, hey, come make a game. Like it's not like that. I'm sure it's probably just them giving up information and stuff. Yeah, dude, this is a crazy time though. Like all this stuff is coming out at once, and it's really just kind of pushed me over the edge of like where I kind of stand with things. I'm not going to be here saying, you know, hey, I hate Nintendo, guys, check out my Sephiroth reaction. And also check out my video about how I hate Nintendo, but check out my Sephiroth reaction, okay? I'm just kidding. But yeah, anyways, it's a crazy time, man. This is a crazy time. Like, I never thought we would be getting the answers to like why Project M actually died, and it turns out we do. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Even though it was like mostly improv, I wanted it to be like information that you guys can digest and enjoy. So I hope you guys enjoy. We're almost at 1,000 subs. Let's get to 1,000 subs, guys. We got like what, less than 80. I feel like we're getting there. We're good. So I hope you guys enjoy. I hope you guys have a good day. Keep playing Project M. Keep playing Project M. Keep that game alive. Play Smash. Play Melee. Do what you want to do. All right. Do what you want to do. All right. So that's the video, guys. Take care.